How did King David die? The mysterious death of the beloved King of Israel. How did King David die? King David died of natural causes at the age of 70. There is no indication of foul play or assassination. How did King David die? King David is one of the most prominent figures in Jewish history and the Bible. He is known for his bravery, faith, and leadership, and is revered as the king who united the 12 tribes of Israel and established Jerusalem as its capital. However, despite his illustrious reign and remarkable accomplishments, King David's death remains shrouded in mystery and speculation. There are different accounts of how King David died, and each one presents a unique perspective on the possible causes of his demise. Some suggest that he died of natural causes, while others speculate that he was assassinated or killed in battle. In this article, we will explore the different theories and explanations surrounding the death of King David and shed light on this enigmatic chapter in the history of Israel. The story of King David is one of the most famous accounts of the Bible. He was an ancient Israelite king who was anointed by God to reign over the kingdom of Israel. He is one of the most important figures in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic history, and his legacy has inspired generations. In this blog post, we will explore the history of King David and how he died. Here's a table outlining the known facts surrounding the death of King David, based on biblical texts. Facts surrounding the death of King David. Description: age at death. David was 70 years old at the time of his death. 2 Samuel 5:4. Cause of death. The Bible does not specify a particular cause of death, but it is implied that David died of natural causes due to old age. 1 Kings 1:1-4. Successor. Before his death, David declared Solomon, his son with Bathsheba, to be his successor. 1 Kings 1:32-35. Last words. David's last recorded words are a charge to Solomon to follow God's laws and a command to deal justly with Joab and Shimei. 1 Kings 2:1-9. Burial. David was buried in the city of David, as was customary for the kings of Israel. 1 Kings 2:10. Legacy. David is revered as a great king and a man after God's own heart. His lineage is significant in Christian theology, as Jesus Christ is described as being of the house of David. These details about the end of David's life and his death are primarily found in the first two chapters of the first book of Kings in the Old Testament. King Saul and the rise of David as king of Israel. The story of King David begins with the reign of King Saul of Israel. Saul was the first king of Israel and was chosen by the prophet Samuel. Saul was a great military leader and made some significant advances for the kingdom of Israel. However, he also had a few tragic flaws and his reign was not accepted by God. This led to the rise of a young shepherd, David, who was anointed by God to become the next king of Israel. God's plans for David's reign and legacy. God had big plans for David and his legacy. He promised that David would have an everlasting dynasty and that he would be the ancestor of the Messiah. David was a wise and just ruler whose reign was marked by peace and prosperity. He also established Jerusalem as the capital of Israel and captured the Ark of the Covenant, symbolizing the presence of God in Israel. King Solomon's succession and David's death. How did David die? David had many sons, but it was his son Solomon who would succeed him as king of Israel. David died in the 10th century BC and was buried in the city of David. While the Bible doesn't specify an exact cause for King David's death, it's widely understood that he died of natural causes in his old age. However, considering the medical understanding of the time when the Bible was written, and interpreting descriptions given in the texts, we could infer possible health conditions that might have contributed to his death. Possible cause of death. Biblical evidence. Old age. In 1 Kings 1:1, it's described that David was old and could not keep warm. His age is commonly accepted as a significant factor in his death. Chronic illness. The Bible notes that David had health issues in his later years, which might be suggestive of a chronic illness. Hypothermia. The inability to keep warm, as mentioned in 1 Kings 1:1, could suggest a susceptibility to hypothermia. Malnutrition. There's no direct biblical evidence for this, but in cases of extreme old age, the person might have difficulty with food intake, leading to malnutrition. Weak immune system. Again, this is an inference based on his advanced age. Older adults tend to have weaker immune systems, which can lead to an increased risk of infections. Father, grandfather, minister, missionary, deacon, elder, author. Welcome to our family. View all posts.